1,150 square feet. On paper, that sounds small, maybe even cramped. But what if I told you this home has vaulted ceilings, a wide-open floor plan, 2 full bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and it still comes in at a fraction of what a traditional house costs per square foot? By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this tiny footprint feels enormous inside, what it actually costs to build something like it in 2026, and the one design trick builders keep reusing to make small barndominiums live twice their size. If you're into homes that punch way above their square footage, hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps this channel keep making videos like this one. Subscribe if you haven't, because we cover barndominiums, tiny homes, and unconventional builds every week. And down in the comments, I want to know, could you actually live in 1,150 square feet? Or is that too tight for your family? Barn meets condominium. The word barndominium is a mashup of barn and condominium. And that's basically the concept of metal or post-frame structure that looks like it could store equipment, but inside, it's a fully finished home. From working barns to real homes, these aren't converted farm buildings anymore. Most barndominiums today are purpose-built from the ground up, using either steel framing or post-frame construction, which means big wooden posts set directly into the ground or on concrete footings, carrying the roof and walls without a forest of interior stud walls holding everything up. Why that construction method matters: because there are no load-bearing walls chopping up the interior. Builders can open up the floor plan however they want. That's exactly what makes this 1,150 square foot home feel so much bigger than the number suggests. The affordability draw: the number one reason people build these instead of a stick-built house? Cost per square foot. Barndominiums have become a real answer to rising housing prices, especially for buyers who want space without the price tag of a conventional home. Built for rural life, but not just rural life anymore. This style took off in rural Texas and the Midwest, where the open layout doubles as storage for equipment or a workshop. But that's shifting. Barndominiums are creeping into suburban lots too, as more buyers realize the format works just as well as a primary residence with zero barn attached. Durability: nobody talks about enough. Steel frame builds resist fire, pests, and severe weather far better than wood framing, which for a lot of owners translates into lower insurance premiums, a detail almost nobody mentions until they get their first bill. The vaulted ceiling trick: walk through that front door, and the first thing that hits you isn't the square footage, it's the ceiling height. Vaulted ceilings are almost a signature move in barndominium design, and they do something clever to your brain. Your eyes read vertical space as usable space, even when the floor plan itself is compact. 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, zero wasted space. This particular layout packs 2 bedrooms and 2 full bathrooms into that 1,150 square feet, which on a traditional floor plan would feel tight. But here, the open concept kitchen, living, and dining area does the heavy lifting, giving the whole home one continuous, uninterrupted sightline. Big windows, passive light, passive heat. Large energy-efficient windows aren't just an aesthetic choice, they pull in passive solar heat and natural light, which makes a small footprint feel airy instead of boxed in, and it can quietly lower your energy bill in the process. Why steel holds up where wood doesn't? Underneath the rustic look, there's real engineering happening. Steel frame and post-frame barndominiums are built to resist extreme weather and pests, and they generally require less ongoing maintenance than a conventional wood-framed house. The trade-off nobody warns you about, but metal buildings come with their own quirks. Insulation isn't optional here, it's critical. Skip it and you get heat loss, condensation, and on a rainy day, a metal roof can turn into a drum. Builders who know what they're doing treat insulation as a top-line budget item, not an afterthought. Financing isn't always straightforward. Here's a challenge most buyers don't see coming. Some lenders classify barndominiums as non-standard construction, which can mean a specialized loan instead of a conventional mortgage. Zoning is the other landmine. You have to confirm with your county that residential use is actually permitted before you break ground. The advantage is lower cost per square foot than traditional construction. Faster build times. A completely flexible open floor plan since there are no load-bearing interior walls. Durability against fire, pests, and severe weather. And in a lot of cases, lower insurance and tax rates than an equivalent traditional home. The disadvantages: on the flip side, barndominiums don't perform as well in extremely cold climates or hurricane-prone regions without serious upgrades. Noise transfer is real. Rain and hail on a metal roof are loud, and metal surfaces can create an echo indoors. And because this housing style is still relatively young, Resale value is less predictable than a traditional home with decades of comparable sales behind it. The national numbers nationally in 2026, a finished barndominium runs somewhere between about $65 and $200+ per square foot, with most standard finishes landing in the $65 to $160 range. The national average total build cost sits right around $230,000. Scaling that down to 1150 square feet at that per square foot range, a home this size lands somewhere between roughly $75,000 on the low end and over $200,000 on the high end, depending entirely on finish level, region, and whether you're going with a bare kit shell or a fully custom contractor-built home. Why the range is so wide? That gap exists because barndominium cost gets used to describe wildly different scopes of work. A bare kit shell, a DIY finish job, and a fully finished contractor build can differ by hundreds of thousands of dollars on the exact same footprint, which is exactly why builders keep saying, don't stop at the kit price, price the entire project from land to light fixtures. Kit only versus fully finished if you just want the shell exterior walls, roof trusses, metal siding, and trim. That alone runs about $20 to $50 per square foot. Getting that shell fully finished into a livable home, with insulation, drywall or interior paneling, flooring, cabinets and fixtures, is what pushes the total into that $65 to $200 per square foot territory. It's a recent boom, not a century-old tradition. Most people assume barndominiums have been around forever because they look rustic, but the modern barndo boom really only took off after 2016, when a renovation episode of a popular home renovation show put the term in front of a national audience. Cheaper land, but not always cheaper homes. A lot of buyers assume barndominiums are automatically cheaper than traditional homes. They're not always. Finish level and site work move the number more than the building style itself. A high-finish barndominium can absolutely cost more than a modest traditional build on the same lot. Plans alone can cost thousands even before construction starts. Stock floor plans typically run $1,300 to $2,000, and a fully custom design plan can start at $4,500 to $6,000 or more. Money spent before a single steel post goes into the ground. So 1150 square feet, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, vaulted ceilings, and a price tag that undercuts a traditional home of the same size. That's the barndominium formula in a nutshell. Build smart, open up the floor plan, and let vertical space do what square footage can't. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment and tell me, could you live in 1150 square feet like this? Or would you need more room? If this video helped you understand what a small barndominium actually costs and lives like, smash that like button, subscribe for more barndominium and tiny home breakdowns, and I'll see you in the next one.